Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Charlton Chronicles, everybody's second favourite host. Sorry, Tyler, he's not here, so I can make that joke. This is Callum. Hope you're all doing well. I'm delighted to be joined by Sid, Steve, and Paul. How is everybody doing this Sunday evening?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, buddy. All good.
Yeah, good, mate. I've been told I mumble, so I'll try not to mumble. I'll try and speak. I get my loud hailer out, but no, all good. Good point, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, we were the second best at Loftus Road, but very much in the game on Friday, so it was all good.
100%.
Good. I warn you all, talking about a 0-0 for an hour is going to be it's going to be a challenge. So we're going to do our best here. What makes it more difficult is I don't think anyone was actually dreadful. We'll talk about the subs because I do have an argument with subs. All three subs have annoyed me. So we'll have that conversation. But really, as let's start with you, Sid. Really, I thought that was a pretty decent performance for 85 minutes.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good performance as well. I mean, the boys kept it together. It was a bit shaky at the end, but I thought we had a much better first half than we did the second. No, but I did think that the boys put in a good shift and used teamwork to get us that point.
Steve, do you feel similarly? We'll talk about the last 10 minutes in a minute. But I think for 85, we're pretty dominant against a decent enough QPR side.
Yeah, lots of optimism for me. I'd go so far as to say that for the first 45 minutes, that was potentially one of our best halves of the season. I thought we were solid in the first half. I thought we played attacking football. I think we were solid at the back. We limited them to a lot of I don't know, sort of offy chances, if you like, sort of snapshots. We didn't really give them an opportunity to score. I don't think at any point. They had some possession in midfield, but yeah, I think we ran the game in the first half and certainly up until a point near the end as well. But yeah, good performances from all aspects, all areas of the pitch, and a performance that I felt very good about. Certainly at half time, that's for sure.
Yeah, Paul. I mean, again. We'll come to 85 plus. We'll come to the three subs. I have much to say. But for 85 minutes, I mean, the goalkeeper had literally nothing to do. I mean, he had to kick the ball about 4 times. That's about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, as Steve said, it was sort of scrappy-do for them for the first sort of 85, 90 minutes. And we carried on where we left off at Leicester, really. And they actually obviously had completed the match with 11 players. So we had a proper, competition. And I thought, unlike the game at Loftus Road, where obviously Paul Smith pulled our pants down early doors, we had spells, but actually, they were the better team, and I think they won the psychological battle as much as anything else when we played over there. This time, I think we were, as you say, pretty dominant. We had some really good chances. As Sid said, first half, how we didn't score at least one is sort of beyond me. And yeah, we were very much in the game. I thought all the guys that started played really, really well. Chambers again acquitted himself well. Harry Clark, Sonny got through a lot of work, but it was obviously quite frustrating. I was by the end I was saying pass the effing ball. Basically, I wasn't the only one. But no,
as well.
well, exactly. I'm sure plenty of mileage in that one. But no, apart from that, I thought we were really good. And I don't think, apart from, as I say, the sort of stoppage time where it got a bit hairy, we were the dominant team, despite what their manager said.
Great. Steve, shall we just have a little bit of a read through the comments and say hello to everybody, and then we'll get into some specifics?
Absolutely, yeah. Good evening to Robert. He mentioned that he was a little bit disappointed with Friday's result. Points better than none. He's hopeful Lee Byrne will be back on Wednesday. I think we can all echo those sentiments. Matt1234H, evening guys. Frustrating result. Performance gave us some optimism. Cody was his man of the match. Pleasure to meet and speak to you, Paul.
Likewise. Good to meet you, man.
Find yourself another fan, mate.
I need all the ones I can get, Steve, to be fair. But anyway,
everyone's going to be walking around the ground with Davenport on the back of their shirts.
Good. Yeah, that'll be a big seller, wouldn't it? I don't think. Anyway, yeah. Sorry,
good evening to Maxim. Hope you're well. Emma's mentioned on the comment there, planning a show for Thursday night instead of Wednesday to review Stoke. Keep your guys updated with the time. Need a Google Translate on the next one from Chris. I'll go with the last bit, evening all. Stuart Wallace just been on a Blackburn channel for half an hour and they think they're going down. No manager, no direction, no money.
If that's the Blackburn end, great podcast.
Yeah.
Really nice guys. But they are about as depressed as humanly possible to be football fans at the moment. I think even Sheffield Wednesday fans are having more fun than a lot of Blackburn fans.
There was lots of pointing fingers actually. The Blackburn game watched it, and it was lots of pointing fingers pointing. Lots of disgruntlement within the players, let alone the fan base. So,
yeah.
I have an
Chris,
idea for the bottom three in this podcast. Don't worry, because I've got to send my spread 0-0 out, so we're going to all look a bit silly by the end of this. I promise.
Good evening, Chris Monday. Hope you're all good. Same to you, Chris. Hope you're well. Evening, Charlie. Evening, all. I echo Steve. Thought that we bossed the game really against a very decent QPR side. No mugs. On another day, we win that. Matt mentioned again there, Steve Cook, 26 defensive clearances, done 15, Lloydie 14, and probably the best goalkeeping performance for an away team since the Leicester keeper in August. So lots of positive there. Charlie's mentioned we stay up reasonably comfortably, only need 13, 14 more points. Chris has mentioned how was the West Brom game yesterday, Stephen Sid. So I hope you had a great time ticking off the West Brom ground. Great day, Chris. Bit of issue getting into Birmingham, as there always seems to be with any train that you take to that part of the world. It smashed it down with rain. It was a 0-0. It was even worse than the Friday night. Not much attacking intent, two industrious sides, but we ticked the ground off, and it was a really nice ground to tick off as well. So we finally got home, but always haste. Thank you very much for asking, Chris. Much appreciated. Rustos, evening all. Frustrating not to win it. We have to see games off when we're on top, which is a good shout. DJ 2701, terrible subs, which may be a good link into your comments later.
We're gonna get there. I promise.
And he's mentioned that's what killed us, which we're probably all in agreement for that. So good evening to you all, guys, and thanks for your comments. Keep them coming.
Nice. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to start before I get to the subs, and I have a bit of a moan. I might be the host, but I still get to have a moan. And we're going to go back to being the chronicles that the forum seem to think we are. Let's talk about the positive. Sid, thank God we have actual wing backs, because once again, width, more width, and all of a sudden you're actually creating things, right?
Yeah. No, I thought that the wing backs did really well. Obviously, Clark looks solid. He's great defending, but he's also great attacking. He knows how to make those runs, and he also knows how to tackle as a defender. Chambers, again, outstanding. Same with Clark, knows how to defend, knows how to run forward, and he always seems to be there at the right time. And I am grateful that we actually have some wing backs now, because otherwise I think it could be a whole different story.
We're gonna get there, don't worry. We all know where I'm going with that. And that was only the second worst of the three subs that we made on Friday night. Steve, another thing, Connor Cody once again. I mean, who is this guy? This is a guy I was told couldn't run. I mean, by the end he couldn't run, but we'll come to that as well. But again, pretty, kept it ticking in the middle of that midfield, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it looks from the last two performances we've had and his part in those, it looks like it was a position that was made for the guy. I mean, I know you made some very good comments, Callum, about him being a sort of 5.5 at times in the last game. But yeah, it just looks like whether it's a specific Jones instruction to sit in front of the back four and kind of boss where when we get the ball, make sure that we use it well, keep possession. But the defensive side of his game in the last two performances, I think, has been outstanding. And I think that it's bred a bit of confidence throughout, not just throughout the midfield, but throughout the back line as well. The guys at the back, I think they're certainly feeling like they've got a bit more protection in front of them now, which is great. Cody, in regards to what he's doing, he's been athletic. He's got about the pitch. He's clearly been an influence in regards to what he's saying out there. You can hear him bellowing, his voice bellowing out on the pitch, which is great. He's dictating to people, not just physically, but also mentally as well. He's getting everyone together in the midfield. And as I say, his range of passing has been fantastic, I've got to say. The pace, as the game goes on, it might always be a thing, but that's going to be a thing for someone that's over the age of 30, whoever you are. But in regards to that particular position, I think we all saw him coming in as a centre half, maybe playing alongside Lloyd. But whether that's a Nathan Jones decision or whether someone's looked at it and thought, you know what, that might fill a gap for a few weeks. Whoever's responsible for it, it's a great decision, and it's paying massive benefit for us. So long may it continue. Can I say that? Yeah.
It's one of those too, of the number of times, and I don't know if you agree with me, Steve, on it, that we looked disorganised in sort of November and December. Stoke, people looking around going, "What? That's your fault. That's your fault." Lloyd Jones and Kaminsky pointing at each other, consistently going, "Why are you there? Why are you there? Why are you there?" On that, I always sort of back the goalkeeper because they have a better line of vision, and I was a goalkeeper, so goalkeepers are always right. But since Cody's come in, it's like people know where to be all of a sudden. It's just endless Welsh and Scouse is what you hear on the side of that pitch. Even at the end, if you're watching the highlights package, you just hear Nathan Jones and Conor Cody both shouting, "What the bleep are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know, on that final corner. And it's sort of like, oh, thank God, some actual, like, genuine leadership in a way that's not waving your arms about trying to get the crowd. It's literally just telling people, you stand here, you go there, you be there. It's like having a second voice out there, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's two sides of getting someone in with that much experience. You know, people will say, oh, well, you know, his legs have gone and, you know, he's not got the ability to move around the pitch, etc., which are all valid points. But the other side of the coin is that you're getting someone in there that knows his job, that knows the position, that talks well, that gets people going. He seems to be a natural leader. He's a guy that's obviously got a lot of knowledge. He's got a lot to say. But as I say, the way that it's influenced our team, not just the players around him, but the kind of the whole ethic of the team now. We look organised again, which is great. And if you know, it can't obviously be down to one person, because it can't be. But I think he's playing a significant part in all of this. And as you say, it's great to hear that. It's great to hear someone on the pitch organising. It's great to see people on the pitch cajoling. It's great to hear people on the pitch, you know, snapping people up and getting them going again. And he has come in and done a really, really, really solid job. And I know we're only 2 games in, and you know, it might be one of those situations where, if you can get a player bounce, a player that hasn't played for a long period of time, that's come in and he's found his feet early, he's enjoying playing again. He's obviously enjoying playing with the guys that he's playing with. But the influence that it's having on our team at the moment is one that's, along with the wing backs, it's just made us look balanced. And there's got to be a lot said for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last point before I come to Paul, and I ask him about another player I thought was exceptional yesterday. That the kick he took from Harvey Vale. Now I know we can't get 3 red cards in 4 games. That foot was high, and watching that back, I'm not sure that shouldn't have been a sending off. That foot is very, very high. What does you think?
Yeah, I wasn't the same as you. I thought that at the time, Callum, and I know we're all biased in regards to Charlton decisions, but you know, if you know your football, it's probably a scenario where the foot shouldn't be that high. The great thing from Cody's perspective, he's not one of those players that's going to back out of that. He's going to put his head where it needs to go. But on that rationale, you shouldn't be taking a kick in the head when you're heading at that height. So, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I've looked back on it. I've looked at it again, and I've just thought, cool, blimey, he's kind of lucky to get away with that. In a lot of other games, that may well been a straight red on more than sort of 1 or 2 or 3 out of 5. You might be talking like 50-60% of decisions made, he's going to get a red card there. So I do think he was a touch fortunate, but it said a lot about Cody. He's put his head in there where it's hurt. He's got a whack. He's ending up with a bandage on his head. Hasn't affected his game whatsoever. It was a little bit old school for people as old as me and Paul. We could talk about people like Terry Butcher. He was one of those guys. Tony Adams, those sort of players. You know, proper England players that put their head on the line. Stuart Pearce. That it was really good to see, and it didn't affect his performance whatsoever. It was even a natty little headpiece for him. But yeah, well done, Connor. I totally agree, mate. Yeah.
So we've just waxed lyrical about Conor Cody because he deserved it. Paul, would you like to wax lyrical about Mari Bell? Because my goodness gracious, did we look better when he's playing left centre back? And I don't know what sort of thing we have to wrap him in to keep him fit. But whatever machine it is, if it costs 25 grand, we have to like a fans fundraiser to find that machine.
Exactly.
Because, my God, this guy, the difference is immense. So please have a couple of minutes to have a lyrical.
I mean, he is wonderful. I still wince when he does a little run. Although actually he's so cultured and he doesn't really need to run, does he? Very fast. He can just sort of sweep up. He's the first yard or whatever is in his head or what the cliche is, and he's just he's like Cody. You can tell he's got great touch, got vision, and he's just a really cultured footballer. And just wonderful sort of distribution. And there's all this calmness. We saw what happened obviously at Coventry when he went down after 25 minutes and it all went to pot. Before that, we've been not necessarily making easy work in it, but we looked fine. We looked untroubled, and he certainly looked unruffled. And he always looks unruffled. That's the phrase I'd use about him. As Nathan himself has said, if Amari Bell was fully fit and he could play 50 games a season, he wouldn't be with us. He'd be a 10 million, 12 million pound player. But when he plays the 90 or nearly the 90 or whatever, I mean, he just he makes such a difference, as you say. And it's when you take a player like that out of the team, you really notice it. I think less so now. We've got Luke Chambers on the left hand side, but yeah, he does. He's elegant. He's an elegant footballer, and he plays at this level like he's born to do it. I'd love to see him obviously play at an even higher level, but for sure for Championship, he's certainly to the manner born. He's just a wonderful player. And as I say, if we can try and get as many games out of him as we can till the end of the season, that's going to really help us along. I think I'll be a lot more comfortable knowing that he's in the lineup.
We average 1.6 points a game when he plays as well. So when he's playing, we are comfortably the Championship side, which sort of tells you the difference. And that is literally the difference one player can make because he plays such a specialist role.
Absolutely. I mean, Steve obviously talks about Conor Cody. I mean, he's not a one-man team or whatever. Well, he kind of almost is. Both those players. If you take both those players out of the lineup, you really
saw what happened.
Well, exactly. So you'll go a
happened,
nice segue into your next point, Connor, Callum. But yeah, no, absolutely. Both those players, their touch is just, it is literally next level, basically. Sort of killer balls, tone dead. Be able to distribute and look really calm. I think, and that obviously transmits itself to the rest of the players. When they can see those players who can just sort of almost glide through a game. And you're thinking, and I think certainly going back to Cody. I mean, as I say, he can just just speak people through the game. I think, and I think similar to Amari, Amari's less sort of, he's more understated in terms of his vocalizing or whatever. But as we've seen, he's not afraid to give people a couple of both barrels when it needs to happen. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. But Amari, great player, Conor Cody, great players, and as I say, that they've been used to great effects. And as I say, hopefully we can keep them fit, both of them, till the end of the season, because it's going to have a profound effect on our prospects.
Yeah. Firstly, Mark, I'd love. Where's the thing about the driving home for Christmas? Paul with the driving home for Christmas tribute voice. That is a fantastic comment. Thank you for
that. I'd buy that single in advance, Paul. I've got to say, I would buy that single in advance.
That is fantastic. Thank you for that, Mark. That has cheered me up. Sid, shall we talk about a player that I thought, and I do not normally wax lyrical about this player at this level, I thought it was one of Doc's best performances in a Charlton shirt, if I'm being honest. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he did really well. Obviously, he's had his ups and downs this season, and especially as he was going to go to Wickham, but then didn't. But I thought this was one of his better performances. To be honest, same with the Leicester game. He's crashing through people, making those challenges in the middle. And I feel like his distribution of the ball was really good as well. And, he's now creating chances that we know that we need. And he can also play it out to the wing backs who can drive forward, which is obviously good and could possibly get us goals.
There's the one, I think he plays a really lovely ball to Dykes for the first chance, actually, as well, which Dykes very unlucky because it was a good shot. Steve, talk about Lyndon Dykes, because you weren't a fan of that signing. It was good again yesterday. He's unlucky especially with the second chance. Because that's a wonderful defensive recovery.
Yeah.
I think if you give him that chance again, he probably smacks that in the bottom corner. But I thought Dykes was really good.
Yeah.
On Friday night. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly the same for me as well. And I'm praying that he just keeps putting these performances in to put me in my place. I'm happy to accept that. I've been really impressed with him, I've got to say. I thought he was great at Leicester, and I thought he was great the other night as well. I thought his movement was excellent the other night. He got himself into good positions. He was strong. He held the ball up. He won a load of headers on Friday, which is great. I mean, he's certainly the guy that he was up against was an absolute giant of a man.
Cook, Dunn,
yeah.
Edwards, like those are three of the better centre backs in the Championship that he's trying to.
And he definitely held his own, and I think he did a lot of positive work for us in regards to getting us up the pitch, allowing the midfield to then get close to the forward line, so that we could make so that people. You mentioned Doc there, that little drive that he made and the ball. I think he made a lot of that happen on Friday night, and Dykes and from if you're talking about sort of it was non-existent in the Millwall game, but a lot of our players were non-existent in the Millwall game. But we've had two difficult fixtures in the last couple of games, and he's been very, very good in both of them. So I'm happy to be corrected on that one. I'll be quite even more happy if he can get some goals as well, because I thought he was pretty unlucky the other night. I thought he might well have had a goal, and it would have been nice to see him score against his old club, because they are obviously not overly enamoured with him, but for us, I think he's doing a great job. Yeah.
Interesting, it was Kelman that was booed and not Dykes as well. They do have, they may not think he's the greatest footballer ever, but Dykes did help keep him up when they were in the absolute crapper. Yeah. They do have like some residual respect for him. They just don't think he's the greatest footballer ever, which is fair enough. But he's kind of trying to do for them what he did. He's trying to do for us what he did for them. I don't need you to be the best striker ever. I just need you to do what you're doing. Yeah. And also end of the game, save the point, clear the ball off the line.
Yes. Very much.
Talking about saving a point, Paul. 93 minutes, Thomas Kaminski had some root of nothing to do. That save. Goodness gracious me, what a stop that is.
Well, yeah, what can you say? I mean, he saved us in that stoppage time period, really. He was excellent. And, I think if we were to look at the other keepers we've got, or certainly, the sort of second choice, I'm not sure he would have made that save. I'm being unfair on Will, obviously. But Kaminski's in that sort of clutch, as they say in American sports. He came up clutch, and he saved us, because, as I say, it would have been if we'd have lost that game. I think the effect would have been quite profound on the team and the supporters, really, because as we've said, as you all said, we essentially bossed that game for 90% of the time, really, and for them to have scored. But then that's his job, isn't it? So, I mean, but equally, we can't take it for granted. Some people take it for granted, and we shouldn't do. I actually want to say, we've criticised him, or perhaps I've criticised him, about not coming for crosses. And certainly since the Leicester game particularly, and yesterday, he's actually been really bold. He's just come out. And again, that's, your defence looks at that and think, he's being really bold. He's, authoritative. And that transmits itself, not just defence of the whole team. So, again, just top marks for him. But yeah, that particular moment was, and obviously Joe Walsh, for a guitarist, he's actually a bloody good keeper as well on their side. So sorry, most people won't get that, but I apologise. But yeah, no, he was good as well, and the fact he was man of the match, I think, that told its own story. But they both put in really good performances and sort of both saved their teams essentially. So it was, I think, but yeah, no, he's been excellent. And as I say, even his distribution seems to be improving as well. So in all facets of his game, he's really showing, his quality, and long may that continue. We all want him to do well. He's been under a bit of pressure. He's been a bit wobbly in a few games, but so is the team, I guess. But now we're all, it's looking, everything seems to be pretty rosy in the garden. So including on his part. So yeah, no, excellent performance.
We'll take some comments in a second. We're going to do a slight side quest for anyone that's an NFL fan, because Paul has reminded me who's winning the Super Bowl. Stick it in the comment section. Your prize, if you win it, is my everlasting respect, which isn't much. But put that in the comments if you're an NFL fan. But before we go on to some of the more sort of, maybe we'll be a bit critical. We won't talk about Lloyd and Ramsey, because Lloyd and Ramsey, and they just do what they do. There's one back pass from Ramsey which scared the life out of me, but Kaminski bailed them out. But yeah, we'll move on to some of the more contentious things from Friday. Let's go to the comments next.
Yeah, DJ's mentioned something that we haven't spoken about tonight. He's just saying not replacing Nibs in the window if he's out for the season was a mistake. He's probably got some valid reasons behind saying that, but it's a very valid comment, I can certainly say. Rustos, which will probably move on to the next bit. I'm not sure if TC should play again this season.
Let's come in. The conversation's come in.
Evening to Tommy. No problem that you're a bit late, buddy. You're here. That's a good thing. Lots of love for Amari Bell. DJ, Amari Bell is quality. Matt's mentioned that Cody's position into an extra CB allows Clark and Chambers to play higher, which looks like that's definitely happening. Tommy's mentioned hope Emma feels better soon. Again, more love for Cody from Rustos. And he also mentioned that he'd happily polish Bell's boots for the rest of the season. His favourite player for us. Calm on the ball, just class. Yeah. Echoed, sentiments echoed there, absolutely. Evening to Mark. We've already mentioned he's popped in with a couple of classics already. Stuart doesn't get the criticism of Sonny. He was our top scorer for a reason. Friday was the first time this season I've seen him shoot over the bar. Normally they're always on target. Very valid comments there, Stuart. Yeah, I'm a big Sonny fan, but as I say, he wasn't at his best on Friday, but everyone's entitled to have an off game, that's for sure. Charlie's mentioned Cody, great signing. Stuart also mentioned, did I mention I don't rate Kelman? There's a conversation there, I suppose. Friday night as well.
We're coming.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Matt's mentioned Sonny deserves some criticism for Friday, but because how good he is, he normally bounces back quickly. So let's not dwell on it too much. Sonny will be determined to bring his shooting boots, and I'm absolutely 100% sure that he will. Charlie's mentioned Doc was fantastic, so some more love for the Doc there. The lovely comment about Paul's driving voice. You also got put up against Des O'Connor there, Paul, as well.
God.
Which might be.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to take that. By the way, I know Mark said about the Chris Rea voice. I've been on the Pina Colada, so that's probably part of it. Guess O'Connor, I'll never live that one down. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, Stuart Wallace mentioned will Bell be marking JRS on Wednesday. He'll certainly be within the peripheries of that area. We saw JRS on Saturday, Stuart. He wasn't great, if I'm being honest, for Stoke. Played very wide and didn't really do much going forward. No. But yeah, and we can have a conversation about that, I presume, on the Stoke preview. Yeah, Mark's mentioned exactly what you said there, Callum, about if we had a 25-year-old, or sorry, it might be you, Paul, actually. It would cost 10 million in today's money easily. Yeah, absolutely. Bell's a colossus. Same with Burke. If they didn't get the injuries, they would be at a high level. Yeah, Mark's mentioned some love for Doc there. Matt's Charlton's number one for Kaminsky. And Chris has apologised for the Des O'Connor comment.
No worries.
So keep them coming, guys. Yeah.
So before I have my moan, let's do a quick whip around on some of the players that maybe didn't quite have the impact on Friday night. Said we'll do Carey first. Him not passing that ball in the last second of that game absolutely set me off. Apologies to the person sat next to me. Because that's the second time now Coventry didn't play that ball as well. And that is, for Harry Clark, that's a goal. He passes that to him, that's a goal. You just like that in the bottom corner. It wasn't Carey's best game. I think it was Mark who mentioned that he doesn't quite have the creativity maybe necessarily at times. Is that just the next step for Sonny?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you could look at it. I think that on the positive side, he drives really well with the ball. I think he knows what he's doing with the ball, barely ever loses it. But also, I don't know why he didn't just pass to Clark, because he could have scored out of that. And also, it's quite rare that you see Sonny's shots going over the bar, and it wasn't just once, it was about 3 times. And it's a bit of a shame to see that, because obviously he's our top goal scorer and you want him to score. Like, if it's a Sonny Carey goal, it's even better. So yeah, he wasn't the ginger genius on Friday.
It's better because we get to sing that chant. Steve, I know our friend Stuart mentioned it earlier. Charlie Kelman ran around a lot, had one chance. That's a difficult chance. Not going to blame him. That's a difficult angle for me, but didn't do a hell of a lot. I won't lie to you. What do you think about Kelman on Friday?
Yeah, very much the same on the back of that. As I say, he moved about the pitch. He got into some areas. But yeah, I mean, there were a few performances like that from Charlie at the start of the season, I thought, when he was finding his feet. And it almost looked like it was like a finding his feet exercise on Friday night. But, you know, the guy is quite obviously tuned in now, as he's shown with a few other performances. But yeah, he just seemed a little bit off the pace, a little bit off key. He didn't really get into the game as much as I'd like to as well. You know, there weren't a great deal of touches. There weren't a great deal of link play. And on the back of that, I think centre forwards need to be involved in the game at certain periods. But I don't think he got in the game at all. I don't know whether it was a tactical thing where he didn't feel as though he had the time. He didn't feel he has the opportunities to do things. Yeah, you can't have a go at him for that chance. You're absolutely right to say that. And I think we were all begging him to score on Friday night to shut that lot up. Unfortunately, he didn't. And then obviously they came out with the usual comments as well. But yeah, it wasn't one to remember for Charlie. Yeah, put it behind you, mate, and crack on with the next game. Let's hope that is the case.
The fair comment, I think. Before I bang on about two of the subs that were made on Friday, because I've been waiting for this, Paul, I'm going to give you the other one, which actually wasn't a bad sub, but Matty Gordon did not get very much into that game at all on Friday. Is that just something that's going to happen sometimes, considering his height, considering the fact that, is that just okay, didn't affect the game too much? Well, we'll just have to.
It's a combination of still easing himself back, isn't it, from a really serious injury, and then, or what wasn't necessarily serious, it became serious, didn't it, when it wasn't operated on properly. And then you talk yourself about Land of the Giants, Jimmy Dunn, Edwards, these players are, and they're also very mobile. I don't want to give it the big guy cliche who can move, but they're big guys who can move. And Ronnie Edwards is class, absolutely class. So yeah, I think it was partly a bit of a combination of both, really. He's still getting up to speed. He wasn't getting much, most of the chances that he got were being sort of snuffed out. So, like Charlie, he'll run all day. So you can never criticise him for that. And he's more likely to get in positions of danger than perhaps Charlie's at the moment. So, he just can really affect the game, unfortunately. And I don't think that was really on him. Again, I mean, it's like, obviously Dykes got to it a flack a couple of weeks ago on here, and I didn't get a chance to use my mantra, service, because that's what it's about, basically, for those guys. And if they're not getting the service, for whatever reason, whether it's, we're not playing the killer ball or we've got defenders who can, anticipate and put it about, then that's just the way it goes, really. So, as I think he's just sort of easing himself back. Will he get 20 minutes or whatever, and hopefully he'll get more next time. And I thought he looked really sharp against Leicester, and he a couple of snap shots that I think went over the bar, went past the post, and he looked really hot, actually. Perhaps looked a bit off the pace yesterday, but you always know that Matt's going to give 100%, and sooner or later he will get back to his sort of sniffer dog best, I think. But I mean, partly it is about getting the service, and hopefully we can sort of improve on that. And we were still saying, I think as Rustos says, or perhaps Tommy, we needed to have some sort of creativity to help us out. I'm sure they tried to bring people in like Paveda and so on. But we've got what we've got to the end of the season. I'm sure that's going to be enough, but it may not be enough to make Matt look as good as he did last season, basically. But then we are up a level. He's easing himself back in, so I wouldn't particularly panic. I'm sure he'll get on the goal sheet again, score sheet again, plenty of times before the end of the season. So I wouldn't be too harsh on him. I wouldn't be too harsh on Charlie either. I mean, Charlie ran, pressed, did all he could. There's the jury's out as to whether he's actually good enough for this level. But again, I'll give him plenty of rope, give him a lot of chance, both of them, because as I say, they'll run for the shirt, and I think that always gets you brownie points where I'm concerned. So I wouldn't be too concerned.
Do you want to read out a couple of just the common comments before I get on to dumb decision number 1 and dumb decision and even dumber decision number 2?
Yeah,
from Friday night.
Yeah, no problem
myself.
at all.
I'm getting ready. Prepare yourselves for my annoyance.
Okay. I'll just say a quick hello to Glenn Smith. He just said he's mentioned just got back from the theatre. I hope you enjoyed whatever you saw, mate. And he said that we were very solid about QPR, and he's hopefully again on Wednesday. Mark's mentioned it's Carey or bust on Friday. Yeah, it's a great analogy that was. It looked like that was the case. Matt mentioned that Kelman did make a great pass from the left to Dykes in the first half. Yeah. It absolutely did. Mark's made a very apt point. Paul just sort of ran over it in that last bit there, just to say with Kelman, I genuinely feel like I'm cheering on the slow kid on Sports Day. All this, he presses well stuff. He's wearing thin now. He just looks well below the level for me. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to agree with that in certain circumstances, and Mark, because there's been a few games like this season. But as I say, he also, has done really well. Paul mentioned there, he gives his all for the shirt, which is great. So hopefully that will give him a bit of rope. But yeah, it's a very interesting point of view from Mark, that one. And Stuart's just agree with Mark there, very well put. So yeah, I think Charlie's got his lovers, he's got his haters, and he's got his people that will quite happily sort of, not tear apart his performance, but if he's not doing it for us, then this is what he's doing wrong. But yeah, he's giving it all for the shirt, isn't he? So hopefully it'll come good, as will Matty, I'm sure.
Sid, I started with wing backs, and I started with dual wing backs intentionally because we signed 2 players in the window who can play wing back. One was Chambers, who started yesterday. One was Fevrier. In the second half of that game, after all of us, and I mean genuinely all of us have sat there, and I'm pretty sure the lad himself sat there, when, thank God, Tyrese Campbell's not playing left wing back anymore because he can't play that position. It's not his fault. He can play the outside forward role. If you're going to bring him on, play him at outside forward. He wants to hug the byline, which means he wants to get to basically towards the corner flag and get the ball in, or he wants to cut inside. If he loses the ball, there is nothing but space behind him. He's not the strongest lad in the Championship. In fact, I may hazard a guess that he might be the weakest player in the Championship in terms of on-the-ball strength. So he's likely to give the ball away. When you bring him on and play him out there, because Bell is not going to go forward, everybody knows you double up. So why, and somebody needs to help me with this, did he not bring Fevrier on Friday night and instead bring on Tyrese Campbell, which precipitated that sort of last 15 minutes that was a bit of a nightmare? And then Steve will get on to the even worse decision, which, if you know what the third sub was, I'll give you a few minutes to formulate your response to that.
I actually have no idea why he did that, to be honest. I mean, in some aspects, I do think that Tyrese is Nathan Jones's golden boy, if you would like to say that. But I really don't think that when he came on, he did very much. I mean, when he first came on, within the first few seconds, he drove forward and everyone was a bit like, oh, okay, like we're going for it. But then we just lost the ball. And then it was like, oh, well, we're not going for it with him. I feel like he also just goes through the motions. And this is the thing, he's got pace, he's got speed. But if he loses the ball to track back, he'll either track back and run, but then not tackle, or he'll just leave it for somebody else to clean up. And that's what really annoys me, because if you've lost a ball, you have to have the integrity to go and win it back. But sometimes he doesn't, and then it just ends up being a weird show that he just leaves it for someone else.
It's one of those like mercurial forwards thing, right? If you're, and I use it as an example of that. There used to be a thing where basically, you have someone like, your best player basically just doesn't track back, right? You can actually play Tyrese in this team and have him not track back because actually everybody else runs around. So that's less of a worry to me. But goodness gracious me, if you're going to play wing back, you've got to get back. And he's mercurial, and he's someone that's very much a confidence player, and he's not a wing back. Mm-hmm. And you brought someone that can play wing back. So dear to God, I don't understand that decision. I'm almost less annoyed at I'm annoyed at the play because he gave the ball away about 3 times in the middle of the pitch, and that was stupid. Mm-hmm. But I'm almost more annoyed at the manager for doing it than I am at the player for playing like the player plays, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I actually don't get why he's done that, because you've got, sorry, is it Fevrier? Mm. Yeah. Mm. You've got him and you're not playing him. I mean, you've just spent a load of money on him, and then you put Tyrese Campbell in there who doesn't play wing back. So he's not going to be the best at tracking back. So, but Fevrier is. So, he's got pace as well, and he'll actually get back. So I don't know why we're not using him and we're playing Tyrese Campbell just to drive forward, but then we don't drive forward and we don't end up going anywhere. And then the ball just ends up getting lost, and then most likely it's his fault every time.
Mark, by the way, in the comments there is absolutely spot on. An inverted TC simply doesn't work at championship level. Double up and it's game over. He's not a Fatawi who can work it past the double up. Fatawi is a Premier League player, though, to be fair. TC on the right-hand side can at least, right-hand striker, outside forward, whatever, can at least sprint for the line and cross the dikes. Yeah, because he doesn't have to worry about blooming tracking back. Having a mercurial forward as someone that needs to track back is just a recipe for disaster. Right? It always has been. But, Steve, there was a decision that was worse than that. And it was one that was made quite late on. And we're going from Golden Boy, according to Sid, to Comfort Blanket, according to me, which is, I know Nathan Jones's Comfort Blanket is Luke Berry. I understand this. But, and I'm not like Emma, and I'm not going to sit here and say he needs to retire, because I don't think that's actually quite fair. However, I do think if Cambridge get promoted back to League One to play this hometown for one last time, I think makes sense for him. But, dear to God, who came up with that idea to have Kerry and Berry playing in the middle of the pitch at the same time with nobody sitting? And it just allowed QPR to absolutely run through as like a knife through butter. And I get it. Luke Berry is a wonderful super sub to have. If you're one goal down, Wrexham always gets the point back. One is a point at Hull. Right? There's absolutely a reason to have him in the squad. But he can't play 10 really anymore at this level, let alone playing 8. Whose decision was that? Yeah. Or am I going mad?
No, you're certainly not going mad. And as I say, I think a lot of us thought exactly the same at that particular time. I mean, if you're going to go with that, then, do a like-for-like substitution. It made no sense to me. And it was almost like we threw extreme caution to the wind in regards to going, we've had all the play for 75 minutes, whatever. We've got to get a result here. And if we do get caught on the break, then so be it, which was bananas in my opinion. I didn't get it at the time. On reflection, it's just a strange decision all round, isn't it? And you obviously work. I'm not the only one in this respect, as you've so eloquently brought it up there. But yeah, I don't get it. I just didn't get that one. I didn't think Berry brought anything to the party either. It's not his fault. He's you're a sub. You either come on and make an impact or you don't. He didn't really make much of an impact. Didn't really get into the game. But yeah, it was just a game. In a period of time after making the Campbell substitution that we quite obviously just had to see out. We had to get the point and we had to make it as comfortable as we could. But throwing caution to the wind with that substitution at that particular time, leaving us where we were in the middle of the pitch, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm not paid to make these decisions. I'm not the manager, but as I say, we all know a little bit about football and like what we see or don't like what we see. I didn't like what I saw on the back of that decision in itself, and I think we were lucky to get away with it. Again, Nathan can face us all and say, well, nothing happened on the back of that. But geez, at times we were a little bit lucky in that last period, especially in the overtime. I thought we were incredibly fortunate. But yeah, one of those decisions that we're here to talk about, and he can make or not make. But it was a strange run for me, definitely.
It was so un-Jones-like, wasn't it, Steve? I mean, we bang on here about him being cautious.
Yeah,
being sort of there now. I think I called him a pound stretcher, sort of Southgate or something. Yeah. Southgate, with respect. Sorry, Nathan. Can't me. I'm sure he will. But yeah, and it's almost like because he made the sub in the 90th minute, so it's almost, to me, it's like he thought, well, we've had him under the cosh for a bit. Let's let things loose. Let's see if we can win it in stoppage time. But when you got 8 minutes of stoppage time and they're dangerous and they prove they're dangerous, having him and Sonny sort of basically, or having Bez running about a bit doesn't really do much for the general sort of sense of sort of achievement and end result. So it, as you say, it could have blown up in our faces big time. So yeah, it was a real struggle. I didn't see that Doc was struggling. He could have stayed on for another 5-6 minutes or whatever it was, to see things out and be that
he took
sort of
that whack off the ankle, didn't he?
Did he?
He took that whack off the ankle, I think. So
fair play then in that case. But as I say, you're right. We needed some sort of sitter. We need someone to do the dirty work in the trenches.
I mean, Coventry's on the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I don't get. If he's on the bench,
I know.
I hate this thing that you put a sub on the bench and he's not fit enough to come. Then what is he doing on there?
Well, exactly.
Right? I'm sure Mwamba on there if he can come on and actually play. Don't put some guy who's not going to come on because all he's doing is running around and warming up.
But again, I mean, we talked about February. We talked about February earlier on. And what does that say? Has he not got confidence in February? I don't want to go back on that. You discussed it already, but you sort of think, we criticised him for his subs at times during this season and last season, and we've praised him as well at times. But the praise is sort of relatively few and far between compared to the sort of the adverse comments, really. So there was real strange ones, obviously TC, but then Bez as well, particularly. It was like a bit of a head scratcher.
The strange thing was, I think there wasn't a person in that ground on Friday night that would have said, this will be a travesty if they win this game.
Yeah.
If QPR win this game, I think we'd have all been gutted and our heads would have been on the floor leaving that ground. And Jones kind of surmised that at the end when he had his post-match comments, to say it would have been a terrible result if we had lost it, which makes that decision even more bizarre.
Exactly.
It was a strange one at the time. It's a strange one now. It's a weird one from Nathan.
You see the ball go across the middle of the pitch there as well. Berry looks at it, it's like, oh, I'm going to get there. And it's like, he's obviously about half a step slower than he remembers himself to be, which happens as players get older. And the QPR player just took it, just nicked it off around the corner and just sat there going, oh my God. And you're playing as the 8.
Yeah.
Like the one position on the pitch where you have to know how quick you are. Because you have to judge because the ball's going to bounce around. Right? Yeah. If you need someone to, take Kerry off, put Berry in the 10 and put JRC in there. Here you go. You've got another carrier and someone that can actually play as an 8. For the life of me, you had multiple midfielders on the bench. That was the thought process.
Yeah.
We need to stop with this Kerry can play 8 or Berry can play 8 stuff. You've got an 8 on there, right? We're praising you now for playing wing backs as wing backs and everything looks better. Well, don't change it in the second half to make it worse by not playing players in the right position.
Exactly.
Honestly, there's a bunch of stuff in the comments of people complaining, and they're all absolutely right. And there's some stuff I disagree with, and I'm just not going to do it because it's annoying me thinking back to it. Because actually, I don't think it's a bad performance. Before we quickly chat about Stoke, just because I think this is going to be quite fun. I think that after this weekend, thanks to results around us kind of going our way, other than West Brom getting a point. There's basically, we're 4 points clear. We've got a game in hand. All of a sudden, you beat Stoke or you beat Pompey and you get a point in the other one. You could be 7 or 8 clear of the relegation zone in 9 days' time. And all of a sudden, things start to look a whole heck of a lot rosier. And I don't think that's impossible when we talk about Stoke's form and the fact that Pompey are a decent side, but they're not world beaters. If you had to pick a bottom 3 now that we're sat on the 8th of February, I would go Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield. You don't have to keep repeating Sheffield. We know that.
Yeah.
Oxford, I think, is pretty. But we're all probably there. I'm going to go Blackburn because I think Blackburn are a total disaster, and I think West Brom and Leicester just have enough players to kind of keep them in games and give them moments. Is anybody going to be brave enough to predict one of West Brom or Leicester will finish below Blackburn by the end of the season?
Well, West Brom obviously Stephen said we're there. I watched the West Brom game. Stoke were pretty lacklustre. I thought West Brom, they put them under the cosh most of the second half, but they couldn't score, which I think probably says a lot of where they are, basically. But, I think that certainly that their home games with their crowd, they've got some really quality players. So if it was going to be anything, it'd be Leicester. But yeah, Blackburn, the mood's really dark there, isn't it? It really is,
That was the worst. That's the worst. Leicester was bad, but nothing was worse than the first 40 minutes at Blackburn. I don't know who else was there. Maybe it was just me. Honestly, there was nothing. We couldn't even make a noise in that away end because it was so. There was no one to sing to.
Yeah, exactly.
They were all just so depressed.
Yeah.
It was very, very. It was for my first sort of trip to Villa Park's a ground that sort of as a kid, I really loved Blackburn and the Premier League, whatever. Crikey, that is a club in trouble. So that's why I say, as we move on to Stoke, watch that transition, everybody. As we move on to Stoke, Sid, Stoke are 3 points from their last 5. They're drawing a lot of games. They're not winning a lot of games, and they've got injuries everywhere. There's an opportunity on Wednesday night, isn't there?
Oh, 100%. And especially as me and Dad went to West Brom Stoke on Saturday. They had a bit of attacking in one of the quarters. But apart from that, I mean, their defending was quite good. They had this one guy who looked pretty solid at the back. I think he was number 18 or in the midfield. And then they also had the guy who scored twice against us. Never want to relive that moment again.
He should have been ours.
Yeah.
Cheers, Sangard. Cheers, mate. Really appreciate it.
What's it? Yeah, so they had him. He was pretty solid on set pieces. But again, to Jez, didn't have his best game. Basically just spent the game giving fouls away and knocking people over. So shows a bit of strength, but I think that if Amari Bell's marking him, he should be okay. But
that's the one player by the side. If that's what he's doing, I think Tyrese Campbell can do a job at wing back against him. That sounds all right.
I wouldn't test it, Callum. It's just for safety. No, but to be fair, I mean, they didn't look too much of an attacking threat, and I felt like West Brom dealt with them pretty well. So obviously there is a chance for us to take 3 points on Wednesday.
There's no Johansson in goal either. Season any injury for him, Steve. That feels like a really big loss. You know, it's a Stoke team that was tracking towards the playoffs. Really good manager at this level in Robbins. Really good fullbacks, good wingers. You know, that team we played on the Tuesday night in Stoke, and I was making the point before, it's not going to be a Tuesday night in Stoke, it's going to be a Wednesday night in Charlton. That, you know, the goalkeeper, Bazuni's, he played for Southampton when they beat us 5-1, but he didn't have much to do. But even the goal Lloyd Jones scores, he should come for that, really. Yeah. He's not going to come for a heck of a lot. It's going to be 2 flipper flappers in goal. But it's one of those, isn't it? It's there has to be an opportunity with the injuries they've got, especially missing probably, in fact, I would say the best goalkeeper in the league.
Yeah, Andy Johnson, the ex, it was entertaining. Andy Johnson, the ex West Brom and not Forest player, was on co-coms on, I think it must have been the Sky Sports app, and he was hyperventilating. I don't know, the commentator was a guy called Jez. He was saying, "Jez, we should have scored. Jez, we should," you know. It was like, "Oh, get out the pitch." It was really entertaining. And actually, you know, as I say, he was getting really, really sort of hyper in the second half because West Brom really did take it to Stoke. And Stoke,
Jesus, Bazuni's out as well now. Yes, does that mean is that Tommy Cahill? No, it's the lad that was at Leyton Orient and absolutely crap for them.
The Irish fans
around here.
Yes, the goalkeeper did go down. I remember him going down for a period of time. But
Bazuni is a flipper flapper. You haven't seen this lad try to come for a cross. It's like Josh Keeley on steroids.
As I say, I mean, they've dropped off there. What, they're 13th now, Stoke? They're sort of dropping out of things, you know. So, I mean, as I say, we shouldn't take them lightly. But I think, you know, again, I think with our sort of additions, I think we should certainly give him a decent game.
Sinkin, there he is. Sinkin, that's his name.
Oh, right. Yes.
Sirkin. It's Sirkin. That's it. It's Tommy Sirkin. There you go.
The one thing that we will have to do is physically turn up because they are a physical side. And that, you know, they got stuck into West Brom as much as West Brom got stuck into them yesterday. I didn't know about Cresswell. That one must have passed me by. Left back, experienced guy, and the right sided fullback's a good player as well. But yeah, Jez looks like he's walked into a team there where they won't let the shackles off of him. I don't think. I don't think he'll have that impetus to get past players. In fact, I don't think I saw him try to get past a player once. He was very tidy in his possession, but yeah, he never really had an opportunity to knock the ball and open up his stride and go past someone. But yeah, there'll be a physical match, a tough game on the, was it Wednesday we've got them? But if we can turn up, play like we can do, there's not creatively a lot to worry about there, to be fair.
I mean,
we've got 36-year-old. I was going to say 36-year-old Aaron Creswell. So hopefully we can get at him. I mean, he's great, as I say, well experienced, but 36 years of age. Surely there must be some room there to manoeuvre.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to. You would say Clark, I think, is not a player that's going to be getting up and down. One would think all game. Mark brings up a really good Stoke and no mugs away from home, 3 draws and 1 win from their last 4 away games. They're hard to break down. They're very much a Mark Robbins team. They pick up points even if they don't necessarily win the game. When people talk about teams that are going to fall apart, I don't think they're one of those with Robbins, but they are. They do have injuries, and if they are playing Thomas Sirkin in goal, absolutely, just keep crossing. You know, if you're Lyndon Dykes and Miles Leeburn, you must be sitting in there going, "Thank you, Luke Chambers. Keep putting that ball on my head." If he wants to come for it, good luck. He's a smaller lad as well. He's only about 6'1". So you very much can just sort of keep pinging the ball. I did not know that Bazunu was injured. That is really interesting. I guess the player to talk about, and I mentioned it there, was Sorba Thomas. Should have been a Charlton player, and we went, we don't know if he's quite worth that coming from non-league. Was it Warren Wood? He was that.
That's it.
He was happy to come. He's also a really good friend with Kane Ramsey, funnily enough. But we decided to pull out of that deal when he was not quite worth what it was. That's ended up working out really well. I think he went to Huddersfield, didn't he? And then went on to Stoke from there. But that's a player. I mean, we saw the cross he put in for the first goal away at Stoke. That was nasty. It's a player you've got to watch out for. You've got to make sure Raksaki's not running past you. It's not the greatest midfield in the world in Stoke, but they are battlers. They are going to sort of, you've just got to not do anything stupid, like bring Luke Berry on to play as a number 8.
Yeah, he's a very confident boy, that Sorba Thomas. You can see in him now. That's not an ex-non-league player that I watched on Saturday. That's an established guy that thinks he belongs in the Championship. He's strong. He's very good on the ball. He doesn't panic. He's quite happy to stick his backside out and hold the ball while he decides what he wants to do. He's definitely done very well for himself by what I saw. They've also got the little Asian guy that sits in the centre of the park. For the life of me, I've forgotten what his name is. He falls over a lot, but he's quite creative with the ball to an extent. He kind of sort of sits in front of the back four. But yeah, there might be an opportunity there to nick the ball off of him every now and again and see what happens. But yeah, nothing we should be overly, massively worried about.
I mean, you do have to be sort of worried the bit is 3-0 in the reverse, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the one thing to do is not give away stupid goals.
Yeah, we gave them that game, didn't we, that night? Yeah,
we gave them that game. We gave them that game. And secondly, as well, this is probably one of those games you're going to be quite happy to have Harry Clark out there rather than James Breed, because if Sorba Thomas wants to be doing dancing with the ball, I tell you, Harry Clark will just stick his foot into him, which is kind of what we need. We need to be that physical sort of. In a game like this, you've got to kind of do what West Brom did, right? And just make it really turgid, right? And just come and beat us. And when they come out, that's when you can kind of hit them. What you can't do is give them a goal early because they will just sit with 11 men and do basically what Derby did and say, yeah, you come and beat us and we'll try and hit you on the counter with two rapid wingers. Should we do a bit of a score prediction? Shall we go around? Should we go backwards? We'll start with Paul. What was your score prediction for Wednesday night?
Well, yeah, as you said, if we can mix it, not get bullied, I think it'll be probably a close game. But I'd like to think maybe 1-0 Dykes. But yeah, it won't be a feast of football, I don't think.
Robbins against Jones, I don't think ever would be. Steve?
Yeah, I'm very much thinking along the same lines as Paul there. It's going to be a tough, close game, I think. Probably be only one goal on it. I'm going positive, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Yeah, I'll give a goal to my player, Dykes. And hopefully Sonny will get his shooting boots back on and put one in the net for us. So yeah, 2-1 win to us.
If Dykes scores more than 5 goals, Steve, will you commit to buying yourself a Dykes 99 shirt?
Yeah, all right, you're on. No problems.
Deal.
My player Dykes, I never thought I'd hear that about 3 weeks ago. Anyway.
Yeah, no problems. I'm okay with that.
Everybody in the comments, you've got to hold them to that. We're going to have video evidence of it. And then Sid, what are you seeing from a cold Wednesday night in Charlton?
I mean, I was going to go for a 1-0 like Paul, but I'll go a bit different and go 2-0 Charlton with a Lloyd Jones header, because he still hasn't done it yet, and a Connor Cody goal. Maybe he'll get his legs running.
We haven't had a 30-yard banger in a long time. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Like a proper sort of one you know that's in once it comes off before it comes off his foot sort of hit. Yeah. That'd be
like
nice.
That one that Coventry had against Leicester. Do you remember that when he just pinged it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying. That keeper had such a good game and he's absolutely naff. It's just been dropped. Turns out we should just put corners on his head. For me, this feels like a Nathan Jones 1-0 sort of grind it out sort of game. If we're going to do that, I'll go 1-0. I'll give the goal to go on Miles. I'll give it to Miles. I don't know why, but I think we're just going to end up spamming the ball in the box with that goalkeeper in there, and we'll be slightly mad not to. Shall we do a couple of score predictions from the chat? I think Emma's is in there as well, so that's quite good.
Yeah, Tommy's gone for a 1-0 win. I'm hoping that's a 1-0 win to Charlton. I'm sure that is the case. Yeah, Emma's mentioned 2-1 Stoke. Sorba, Thomas and Jez for them, Sonny for us. I suppose there's an argument to be made for Jez scoring, isn't there?
Always is against us.
Wonderful player for us, wasn't he? Brilliant player. And I hope that he has a stinker on Wednesday night. Still love you, Jez, but have a stinker, mate. Yeah. Chris has gone for a 2-2, Clark and Doherty. Matt 1234H said 2-1 against QPR. Same result against Stoke. Dykes and Sonny to bounce back after his shocker Friday. Mark's gone the same as you, Callum. 1-0 Charlton. Godden, which I take right now. Chris has mentioned overdue a Doc goal. Yeah, we have. It's been a while for Doc, isn't it? That's for sure. Tommy's questioned Doc. Yeah.
Tommy's asking whether you need a Doc, Chris, for anything a Doc goal.
Yeah. Hopefully Doc can surprise us all and pop one in on Wednesday night. That would be lovely. Yeah.
But we all know what the world actually wants is 1-0 Sir J. Collins header from the corner.
Yes.
Can you imagine that? We'll never hear the end of it. Right, everybody. I hope you have a good start to your week, halfway through the week. We'll see you all on Thursday. Enjoy the cold Wednesday night in Charlton. And I'm going to stop making that joke now. It's the last time I'm going to. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening. And we'll see you all soon.
Cheers, guys.
I don't know why.
Go Seahawks. Cheers, guys.